हरि ओम। ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री हिरण्यगर्भाय नमः। ओम श्री महाविष्णवे नमः। ओम श्री महादेवाय नमः। ओम श्री महादुर्गायै नमः। ओम श्री राम रामाय नमः। ओम श्री सद्गुरवे नमः। ओम सहना भवतु, सहनौ भुनक्तु, सह वीर्यं करवावहै, तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। ओम गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः, गुरुरेव परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। भवानी शङ्करौ वन्दे श्रद्धा विश्वासरूपिणौ, याभ्यां विना न पश्यन्ति सिद्धाः स्वान्तस्तमीश्वरम्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं, देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेदसे, रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीतायाः पतये नमः। बुद्धिर्बलं यशोधैर्यं निर्भयत्वमरोगताम्, अजाड्यं वाक्पटुत्वं च हनुमत्स्मरणात् भवेत्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं, सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं, नमामि भगवत्पादः शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम्, अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने, व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ नमः शिवाय। 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 नमः पार्वतीपतये। हर हर महादेव। हरि ओम। हरि ओम। We shall chant Shanti mantra. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। So Ishavasya Upanishad is found in Shukla Yajurved, and it has got this Shanti mantra, which we have seen the meaning, that Brahma is indicated as Purna, complete, whole, infinite. Everything is included in that Brahma. It is infinite. And this world which we see is an expression of that Brahma alone. So in this world, that Brahma is hidden, is not seen. Therefore it is indicated as that. So that is Purna, and that which is seen as this world is also the expression of that Purna. This Purna world has come from that Purna Brahma alone. Purnat Purnamudachyate. But due to ignorance, we are only captivated by the expression. We don't recognize the Swarupa. It is like somebody is fascinated by the ornaments but doesn't recognize the gold. The world is like an ornament, and Brahma is like gold. So when we recognize that gold, when we take away that gold from this world, when we recognize that Brahma, then what happens? Then Brahma alone remains. For an enlightened person, there is nothing other than Brahma. Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. Neha Nanasti Kinchana. There is nothing other than Brahma. So, after invoking peace, the Upanishad begins. So, Shankaracharya ji, in his introductory bhashya, he conveys that these mantras of the Upanishad are not meant for karma. They are not associated with some karma, because they are indicating that Atma, which is ever pure, which is free from all papa, which is one, which is eternal, which is devoid of all body, which is all pervading. This Atma is revealed in the Upanishads. Therefore, it is only the knowledge of that Atma is given. It is not meant for any action, because there is no action possible once we come to recognize this Atma. All actions happen in the field of ignorance. But once that Atma is recognized, then there is no question of having any action. In the field of ignorance, a person identified with the body performs actions, and those actions are meant to create something, utpadyam, to change something, vikaryam, to go somewhere or attain something, apyam, or to modify something, beautify something, that is sanskaryam. So all these type of actions are not possible on the Atma. One who recognizes the Atma or on the Atma, these actions are not possible because it is Atma is ever pure. You cannot do any samskar. Atma is all pervading. You don't have to go anywhere to attain Atma. Atma is free from all changes, no vikar happens. Atma is ever existent. One doesn't have to create that Atma. So not only the Upanishad conveys the knowledge of Atma, but also other texts like Bhagavad Gita and Brahma Sutra, their main theme is to give us the knowledge of Atma, our own self. And karma is meant for those who are ignorant, those who have not gained this Atma Jnana. So Shankaracharya ji writes in his commentary कि तस्माद् आत्मनः अनेकत्व कर्तृत्व भोक्तृत्वादि च अशुद्धत्व पापविद्धत्वादि च उपादाय लोकबुद्धि सिद्धम कर्माणि विहितानि. That in general people have this ignorance. What ignorance they have? That Atma is aneka. In that state of ignorance, we generally feel that in this body there is Atma, in other body there is another Atma, in another body there is another Atma. So there are many, many Atmas. That is a notion due to ignorance. Really speaking, Atma is one. There are no two Atmas. But when one has got ignorance, one feels there are many Atmas. Then, due to identification with the gross body and the subtle body, one has got the notion of kartrutva and bhoktrutva, that I am the doer of action and I am the enjoyer of the result of action. This notion is also due to ignorance. Then one feels that I am impure, I have to purify myself. Ashuddhatva, that I am a sinner, I should become free of my sins, I should perform some karma to become free of my sins, I should take a dip in Gangaji to become free of my sins. So in this way, all these notions are there, which are all due to ignorance. But this ignorance is there, we are born with this ignorance. Therefore, keeping this ignorance of all beings in mind, the Shastras give instructions for karma. So those instructions for karma are given in the Karma Kanda portion of the Vedas. And when we follow these instructions of the Shastra, do the karma, then what happens? Our mind becomes pure, we gain vairagya, we gain the jidnyasa to know ourselves, and to such people who have the jidnyasa, who have vairagya, who have the intense thirst for moksha, the Shastras in Upanishad gives self-knowledge. So Upanishads are meant for those who have that mumukshutvam, vairagyam, but those who are ignorant and those who are identified with the body and those who desire results in this world and the other world. Yohi karma phalenarthi दृष्टेन ब्रह्म वर्चसादि आदीन अदृष्टेन स्वर्गादिना च. So one who desires results in this world or those who desire results in the other world as swarga, etc., One who thinks one is fit for doing that karma. I am a Brahmana, I am a Kshatriya, I can do this karma. I am not having any defects in my body, in my mind. I will perform this yajna. So to such people having such notions, the Shastras, they give the instructions for karma. But Upanishads are not meant for karma. Upanishads give the knowledge of Atma. Hmm. So it is said कि तस्माद् एते मंत्राः आत्मनो याथात्म्य प्रकाशनेन आत्मविषयं स्वाभाविकम् अज्ञानं निवर्तयन्तः. That this Upanishad gives the knowledge of Atma as it is. Atmanah yathatmya prakashanena. The knowledge of the self is revealed as the self is. Hmm? So when we gain this knowledge, what happens? The ignorance of the self gets eliminated. See, we have this swabhavik ignorance that anadi avidya is there. We are born with this avidya. What is avidya? That I don't know who I am. What is my nature is not known. So this ignorance gets eliminated when we gain the knowledge revealed in the Upanishads. And when this ignorance gets eliminated, then what happens? Bhagwan says, कि शोक मोहादि samsara dharma vichitti sadhanam. That this knowledge destroys samsara. And what is this samsara? Shoka mohadi, filled with grief, with confusion, with sorrow, pain, fear, trouble. Hmm? People in ignorance feel that I am born, I will die, I will get some disease, I will die. Hmm? So all this notion is there because I don't know my own self as deathless. It is like the space, all pervading space, which thinks that it is the pot, then suddenly has the fear that, oh, I will get broken, get cracked. But the space is having this unnecessary fear. This fear is due to ignorance. When the space comes to know that I am space, I am not this pot, I am the space, then it will become free of all fear. Similarly, all of us in the state of ignorance, we have this fear, we have sorrow, pain. That itself is called samsara. And why this samsara is there? Because of ignorance. And how this ignorance get eliminated? Through self-knowledge, which is revealed in the Upanishads. So Upanishad reveals what? Atmaikatvadi vijnanam utpadayanti. It gives rise to this knowledge when we follow the process of the Upanishad of Shravan, Manan, Niridhyasam. We gain that knowledge. What knowledge? Atma Ekatva Vidya. That Atma is one. Atma means I. I come to recognize myself as I truly am. And once I recognize myself, I also come to know that everything is myself. There is nothing other than me. All beings are myself. This whole world is myself. Ishwara is myself. Brahma is myself. It's the most amazing, wonderful knowledge. It is a fact. Knowledge doesn't mean the scriptures are trying to hypnotize us into thinking that I am Brahma. The scriptures reveal the fact that you are Brahma. The scriptures doesn't say that you imagine that you are Brahma. The scripture says you are Brahma. And we have seen in Bhagavad Gita also that knowledge is Vastu Pradhan, Vastu Tantra. Vastu Tantra means objective. As Brahma is, so the knowledge happens. It doesn't depend on our fancy. It doesn't depend on our imagination. The knowledge is revealed as it is. Our buddhi just becomes a receiver of this knowledge. The buddhi doesn't create knowledge. The buddhi doesn't imagine knowledge. If it imagines, then imagination might be wrong. Hmm. The knowledge is revealed as it is. And this knowledge, self-knowledge, destroys ignorance. So this knowledge is revealed in this Upanishad, Ishavasya Upanishad, not only in this Upanishad, but other Upanishads also. So before we begin the study of the Upanishad, there are four important points which one has to remember. They are called Anubandha Chatushtaya. They are the Adhikari, Vishaya, Sambandha and Prayojana. Adhikari, Vishaya, Sambandha, Prayojana means when we study a text, whether it is the Upanishads or Bhagavad Gita or any other, one should know it is meant for whom. It is addressed to whom. This text is addressed to whom? Who are the adhikari for this? If a person who is not adhikari will not be able to comprehend what is being said or will not find any use in what is said. So who are the adhikaris of the Upanishads that Bhagwan had mentioned before also? Ki those who have mumukshutvam, those who want to become free of this samsara, that enough is enough. I have lived my life in this world, not only this life, but many, many lives before also, struggling, fighting, moving around here and there, experiencing different joys and sorrows. When a person feels that enough is enough, that I want to just become free of all this sorrow, pain, trouble, I want to gain moksha. And one who has gained intense vairagya towards the pleasures of this world. See, all of us are seeking happiness. All of us are seeking happiness. And there are two places where we find happiness. One is we find happiness in the world. Hmm. That is what generally nobody knows the second place. But one is we find happiness in this world. We seek happiness in this world. But the happiness of the world has got its own shortcomings, limitations. The happiness of the world requires a lot of struggle to obtain. The happiness of the world is associated with fear that we will lose it. Happiness of the world is not lasting. Even when we gain it, it comes to an end. And when it comes to an end, it leaves a lot of sorrow and pain. But generally, people know about the happiness which we derive from the world, through the objects of the world, through Shabda Sparsha Rupa Rasa Gandha. The scriptures come and tell us, ki, oh my dear person, you are running after happiness in this world, but do you know there is a treasure of happiness lying within you? It is like a person who is very poor, living in a hut, small place, every day has to struggle, move around in the world, earning little money. Then a wise person comes to his place and he understands. huh? There are people who can divine and understand what is hidden in the ground. So this wise person tells him that you have great treasure hidden under the under the ground, in front of your house, within your compound. There is lot of treasure, but it is covered with lot of mud and lot of rocks. You have to dig them out and you will find all treasures there to make you eternally wealthy. Same thing is done by the Shastras. The Shastras tell us that, oh my dear person, you are running around in this world seeking happiness. Until now, you have not found that eternal happiness. We are telling you that the happiness lies within you. Eternal happiness is there within you, which is everlasting. But you have to, it is covered. You have to remove that covering and recognize that happiness. So, those who have this intense desire for moksha and those who have gained vairagya from worldly pleasures by understanding deeply that the happiness lies within. So, drops all agenda and wants to pursue this happiness. They are the adhikari. They are fit to study the Upanishads. But what is the topic of the Upanishad? What is the Vishaya? What is the topic? The topic of Upanishad is Atma Vidya, Atma Ekatva Vidya, or it is also called Brahma Vidya, because Atma itself is called Brahma, and that Atma or Brahma are not many, it is one. So Atma Ekatva Vidya is the topic of the Upanishad. And what is the prayojan? What is the purpose of studying this Upanishad? When you study this Upanishad and gain that knowledge, you will gain moksha, you will gain freedom. I will gain freedom? Yes. But what is the sambandha? What is the relationship? I want happiness, and you say you study this Upanishad. What is the sambandha? The Shastra says the sambandha is sadhya sadhana. You want to gain happiness? Yes. The means of gaining that happiness is this knowledge. Once you gain that knowledge, you will gain that happiness and you will become free. So when we understand the adhikari, vishaya, sambandha and prayojan, then we become inspired to study this shastra. Hmm. So all those of you who are listening to these pravachans, I consider all of you as adhikari for this knowledge. So let us begin the study of this Upanishad. Shankaracharya ji, he writes कि संक्षेपतः व्याख्यास्यामः, that briefly I will comment on this Upanishad. See, those mantras and all are so subtle that slight misunderstanding and we will go in a totally a tangential direction. Therefore, it is said that even if you are very smart and intelligent, you should not try to study the Shastras by yourself because you may misunderstand. And if you misunderstand, it might lead to accident. Hmm. It's like somebody is trying to make some dangerous device at home, reading the instruction. Hmm. Slight mistake and the whole house will go on fire. Similarly, if we misunderstand the scriptures, and that is happening, the Shastras are misunderstood because people interpret it according to their own fancy, according to their own likes and dislikes. Therefore, everyone, not everyone, but many foolishly start talking about this world as mithya. Hmm? And they wrongly attribute this statement to Bhagwan Sri Adi Shankaracharya as Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. He never said this. See, even in modern times, even when things are happening, we are seeing it. It is interpreted in different ways. If you listen to the news channel also, every channel will talk about the same incident in different ways, depending on their fancy, depending on their who is their boss and what the boss wants them to convey, depending on what type of frenzy or fear they want to create in people's mind. So every channel they have their own agenda. Similarly, the scriptures remaining same, everyone will understand it differently if they are not guided properly. So who can guide us in properly understanding the Shastra? Only the one who understands the Shastras completely, that Bhagwan himself. And Bhagwan himself has taken avatar as Adi Shankaracharya and he has written this commentary. So we should take full guidance from the commentary. So Shankaracharya ji writes कि संक्षेपतः व्याख्यास्यामः. I will comment on this Upanishad briefly, because if I have to talk about it elaborately, there is no end to it. But briefly, I will convey the essential teaching. So let us begin with the first mantra. Let us chant. I hope you are having books with you. You should have the book with Shankaracharya's Bhashya, so that you can follow what is being taught. What I am teaching is what Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji has conveyed. So let us chant the first mantra. Om Ishavasyamidagam Sarvam Yat Kincha Jagatyam Jagat Tena Tyaktena Bhunjitha Ma Grudhakasya Svidhanam. Once more. Om Ishavasyamidagam Sarvam Yatkincha Jagatyam Jagata Tena Tyaktena Bhunjitha Ma Grudhakasya Svidhanam. This is a very beautiful mantra with which the Ishavasya Upanishad begins. See, among all the Upanishads, this Upanishad is named as first Upanishad. And this first Upanishad begins with this beautiful mantra, Ishavasyamidam Sarvam. First, we will briefly see the meaning, and then we will see for whom it is addressed to. It says, Ishavasyam idam sarvam. Idam sarvam, all this. All this what? All this jagatyam jagat. In this jagatyam, jagatyam means prithivyam, in this world, on this prithvi, jagat, jagat, there are different types of beings are there. Many beings are there on this prithvi. Ishavasyam idam sarvam, one should pervade all of them with Ishwara. Not only then these beings, but everything in this world should be pervaded with Ishvara. Ishavasyam idam sarvam. Yat kincha jagatyam jagata. Whatever is there in this jagat, jagatyam jagat, everything should be pervaded with Ishvara. And tena tyaktena bhunjitaha. And through tyag, through renunciation, one should protect oneself. Tena tyaktena means through tyaga, through renunciation. Bhunjitaha, bhunjita means protect. One should protect oneself. And ma gridhak kasya svidhanam, and one should not covet anybody's wealth. That is the literal translation of this mantra. Now let us think. This mantra is is given to the highest adhikari. See, ultimately, we have to gain knowledge through Shravan and Manan. We have to gain self-knowledge. And after gaining self-knowledge, gaining that conviction, one should practice nididhyasan. In this verse, the Upanishad is talking about nididhyasan. The Upanishad starts from Mount Everest. Ishavasya Upanishad starts from the top and then it comes at a, at a lower level. But in the beginning itself, it speaks from the highest standpoint. Shankaracharya ji writes about this verse कि एवं आत्मविदः पुत्रादि ईषणात्रय संन्यासेन आत्मज्ञान निष्ठतया आत्मा रक्षितव्यः इति एष वेदार्थः. That this verse is meant for those who have gained this knowledge. They should renounce all attachment and through that protect themselves and practice seeing this whole world as Ishwaramaya, as pervaded with Ishwara. So let us read the commentary given by Shankaracharya ji and then contemplate on this verse. Okay? So the word Isha is used. Ishavasyam idam sarvam. So who is this Isha? What is the meaning of Isha? So it says Isha, Ishta, iti, eat, tenesha. Isha means one who rules. One who rules. Hmm? Who is that one who rules? Ishita Parameshwaraha, that Param Ishvara, Param Atma Sarvasya, who is the self of all, who is the ruler of this entire creation. Hmm? Sahi Sarvam Ishte, Sarva Jantunam Atma. It is the very self of all beings and the ruler of this entire creation. And it is this Pratyek Atma, it is the innermost self of all beings. Pratyek Atmataya. So, as the innermost self, Ishwara rules this whole world. The entire world, the master of this entire world, the ruler of this entire world is Ishwara. From Ishvara alone manifests this world. Ishvara alone sustains this world, and the whole world dissolves in Ishvara. We have seen in Bhagavad Gita that Ishvara has got this twofold Prakriti, Para and Apara Prakriti. So through this Para and Apara Prakriti alone, Ishvara expresses as this world of matter as well as life. And being everything and everyone, Ishvara rules this world. Everything happens by Ishvara Shakti alone. Nothing can happen in this world without Ishvara Shakti. When Ishvara decides, then the whole world comes into manifestation. And when the time comes, the whole world gets dissolved. That Ishvara in his Swarup is that Brahma alone. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. That Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, when spoken about along with its Shakti as the ruler of this world, that Brahma is called Ishvara. Ishvara is another name of Brahma. Ishvara is Sarvajna, Sarvashaktiman, Sarvantaryami, Karma Phaladata, Jagat Karta, Sarvavyapi, Nirgun, Nirakar, and one. Ishvara is one. Hmm. That ultimate, in English, if we have to say, the ultimate God is one. Our Shastras talk about one God. But when he manifests as this world, first he manifests as Hiranyagarbha. Therefore, Hiranyagarbha is manifest Ishvara, is also called Saguna Ishvara, but Saguna Nirakar. Hiranyagarbha doesn't have any akar, doesn't have any shape, so it's called Saguna Nirakar. Then from Hiranyagarbha alone manifest Vaishvanara. That Vaishvanara is called Saguna Sakar. Saguna Sakar Ishvara. And from that Vaishvanara, the entire creation, everything expresses. So all the devatas, there are devatas, many devatas are there, 33 main devatas and many other devatas. Their bodies are also created by Vaishvanara. Then he again does Trivrit Karanam and creates the bodies of all the plants, and again does Trivrit Karanam and creates the bodies of animals, birds, and human beings. So the entire manifest world with all the beings is Vaishvanara. And that Vaishvanara exists in Hiranyagarbha. Then the whole Vaishvanara is in the mind of Hiranyagarbha. And Hiranyagarbha is existing in Ishvara. And Ishvara is that Sakshad Brahma. So the entire world is Brahma. Or in other words, the entire world is Ishvaramaya. Entire world is Ishvaramaya. Hmm. So one who has gained this knowledge through Shravan and Manan, but has not gained abidance in this knowledge, has not gained that direct experience of this knowledge. To such mumukshus, to such seekers, this mantra advises that you look at this whole world and pervade the world with Ishvara. But if world is already pervaded by Ishvara, why should we pervade it with Ishvara? The world is pervaded with Ishvara, but every time we forget Ishvara or every time we notice the names and forms and focus our attention on the names and forms, then the Ishvara gets forgotten. Ishvara is forgotten. Let me give you an example. This pot. Hmm. This pot is made up of clay. So there appears to be two things, clay and pot. Because clay is the cause and pot is the effect. In clay we can store water. In pot we can store water. So it has got a vyavaharik satta, a transactional reality. So this pot is there, and if I tell you that pervade this pot with clay, you will say already it is pervaded by clay. No, no, every time you notice the pot and think that, oh, this is a pot, I want to keep water in it, then you are, at that moment, you are forgetting clay. You have to shift the attention from the pot and focus only on the clay. As clay, it doesn't break. Clay doesn't break. There is no crack in clay. But if you look at the pot, then pot can break, pot can crack, pot has a shape, pot has some utility. So if we want to understand the clay, our focus should be on the clay. Similarly, this world is like a pot and Ishvara is like the clay. If I look at this world as a mountain, river, trees, this person, my family, my house, my car, I want to go there, I want to achieve this. That means I am not seeing the clay, I am not seeing Ishvara. My focus is only on the name and form. But once I gain that understanding of the self, then I should practice. This is a practice, nididhyasana, that look at this whole world as pervaded by Ishvara. Cover the world with Ishvara. Ishavasyamidam sarvam. Yat kincha jagatyam jagata. Whatever is there on this earth, all living beings, cover them with Ishvara. Means pervade them with Ishvara. Means see Ishvara in everyone and in everything. But begin this with yourself. See that Ishvara in yourself first. Well, where is that Ishvara? In my stomach? Is he in my heart? Is he in my kidney? Where is the Ishvara? Ishvara is that Pratyak Atma, That innermost self is Ishvara, as was said in the 13th chapter of Gita, Kshetrajñam chapi mam viddhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. Hey Arjuna, understand me to be Kshetrajna in all the kshetras. So recognize the presence of Ishvara in your own self, in your own this body. And once one holds on to that Ishvara in oneself, understand that Ishvara alone is pervading this whole world. Cover the whole world with Ishvara. Hari Vyapak Sarvatra Samana. Premate Pragata Hoi Mai Jana. Understand the whole world pervaded by that Ishvara alone. Just as how Tulsidas ji looks at this world, Siya Rama Mai Sab Jag Jani. He says, I see the whole world as Siya Ram. I don't see anything other than Siya Ram. I look at everything and I come to understand the presence of Siya Ram in them. I look at the mountain and I see Siya Ram. I look at the sun, I see Siya Ram. I see that Brahma in everything. In the waters there is Brahma. In the plant there is Brahma. In the earth there is Brahma. In the sun and the moon there is Brahma. In all beings there is Brahma. But one should practice, one should force the buddhi to maintain this understanding that everything is pervaded by Brahma. That is our practice of nididhyasana. That is what is said in this first line. Ki Ishavasyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagata. Cover the whole world with Ishvara. Shankaracharya ji writes, what do you mean cover what? Ki idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam prithivyam jagat tat sarvam svena atmana ishena pratyagaatmataya aham eva idam sarvam iti. Cover the whole world with what? With your own self. That self, innermost self, is that Ishvara. And understand that everything is that Ishvara. Sarvam. Pratyek Atma Taya Aham Eva Idam Sarvam. I alone am everything. So Parmartha Satya Rupena Andritam Idam Sarvam Chara Charam Achhadaniyam Svena Paramatmana. So this entire world, which is Andritam, here those who are using this Gita Press book, there is a printing mistake. It is not Amrutam, it is Anritam. Anritam means is another word for asatyam. This world is asatyam. Asatyam means changing. Satyam means that which is not changing. Asatyam means that which is changing. The nature of this world is that it is constantly changing. The translation in this Gita Press book in Hindi is given as Mithya for this Anritam, which is not a proper translation. It is not Mithya. The world is not Mithya. The world is changing. It is a changing existence. This thing has gone into everyone's head that the whole world is Mithya. It is not Mithya. It is changing. It is changing existence. That in Sanskrit is called asatyam. And another word for asatyam is anritam. because ritam also means satya, and anritam means asatyam. So Bhagavan says that sarvam iti parmartha satya rupena anritam idam sarvam characharam achadaniyam. All this anritam should be covered with Ishwara. It is just like saying that cover this pot with clay, or like saying cover the ornaments with gold. Don't keep that example of rope and snake in your head. See, that example of rope and snake for this world is wrong. The world is not like a snake on a rope, because the snake and rope doesn't have cause and effect relationship. When you see a snake on a rope, that snake is in your head, not there. But when you see a pot, the pot is here, and the clay is also here. Similarly, when you see the world is there, and Ishvara is also there as the very cause of this world. And the same Ishvara is there within us as our own self. So Ishavasyamidam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagata. So contemplate, think about it. And more about this we will see in our next class. The second line of this mantra also we have to see. That we will see in our next class. Next class will be on Monday. So Monday and Tuesday we will have Ishavasya Upanishad class, and on Wednesday we shall have prayer and meditation. And in that prayer and meditation session we shall chant Sundarkand from Tulsi Ramayana, from Ramcharitamanas. So you get your books also ready. And those who want to buy this book, it is also available on Amazon. So on Monday, Tuesday, we will have Ishavasya Upanishad class. Wednesdays, we will have prayer and meditation. Then again, Thursday, Friday, we will have Ishavasya Upanishad class. So in this way, we will have these classes. So every Wednesday, we will have prayer and meditation, in which we will chant Sundarkand, little portion we will chant. And every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, Friday, we shall have Ishavasya Upanishad classes. So we shall meet again on Monday. So till then, you take care. Be happy, safe, peaceful, healthy. Stay home, stay safe. And we shall meet again on Monday. Hari Om. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. 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 Shri Ram Jaya Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram बोलिए सियावर रामचंद्र भगवान की जय। ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरिः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम।